Silver Daves in chat?
What up?
Is my mic quality good?
Yeah, you're good. I have to get the sound right here soon. Okay, I got that right. Paul said he'll be here in 5 minutes.
So I noticed on your podcast you usually have like a 10 or 15 minutes or
Starting soon. Yeah.
So
I started that a little bit late this time. Given that Jaybird and I were playing in ARAM.
I thought you said you were taking a break from League.
I am. ARAM is not League of Legends.
True. I actually agree, but still. I don't consider if it's not like ranked Summoner's Rift, you're not really playing League in my mind.
I 100% agree. Say a sentence real quick for me.
Hello, my name is Zebra.
Okay, and hello, my name is David. I need to turn you down just a little bit. We'll see where Paul comes in volume-wise. Care to explain to me why... Oh, he's got 100,000 followers. Never mind, that's why. Or 100,000 people he's following. Some random verified dude just randomly liked the live stream. It really confused me at first, I'm not gonna lie. So what have you been up to?
Same old, same old. Going to work, playing World of Warcraft, bullshitting on the side.
The same old WoW.
Yeah, dude. The meme slash joke slash connotation around the game is very real. It sucks you in. Next thing you know, you're playing for 12 hours.
I mean, that's basically me with League, so I can't really...
Is it though?
I mean, yeah. I'll be grinding rank play whenever nobody else is. The question is whether I have time.
True. I guess you're limited by your time.
That's the big thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we've had the conversation way too many times already, but like, I've just been burnt out on League for a very long time.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Do you still watch it consistently?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
I mainly watch LCK and LPL though. Like
I mean,
the average.
Does that fit better into your time zone, or do you go out of your way to watch it?
Both. I'm usually up late nights, early mornings more than I am afternoons, but also the average LEC and LCS game is very uninteresting.
I kind of get that. Because LPL is best of threes and LCK is best of threes, right?
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, like a match between bottom tier teams in each league is pretty bad,
yeah.
right? But even in the LPL, they have mechanical standouts that are worth watching on the bottom teams, whereas in LCS, I don't feel like that.
I get that.
I don't feel like there are mechanical standouts in the LCS bottom teams.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. Coco, I'm going to need you to go over to the couch while I record this. So I cannot, unfortunately, have you in my lap. Good girl. Oh, that is so much better. I can actually move my legs now, which is a blessing. Paul still doesn't know that it's you that's going to be on the podcast. I kept it a secret from him. So, he's probably going to be genuine, because it bugs him to no death when he doesn't know. Which I find absolutely hilarious.
Huh?
I just think something here chilling for no
Oh,
reason.
there he is.
No, my thing wasn't on yet. You're actually the guest, though?
Apparently, I thought you guys were gonna have that Immortals guy or whatever.
Nah,
Did
he's
you already
on.
have him?
He's on Monday of this upcoming week.
Nice. I saw the. Is it the same guy from the Travis interview from yesterday?
Yeah,
Nice.
Yep.
same guy that Paul and I sat through. So there's a podcast called The Business of Esports, which does like pure business talk, and they had Ari Segal and him on, and I I don't want to shit talk all that much. By all means, Jordan himself was great. I think Paul will be able to attest to that when he comes back. But
Yeah, he was.
there was a lot of political talk with Ari that was very hard to get through to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Why is that name familiar? Who is Artie Siegel? Seagal?
The overarching CEO, like owner operator of Immortals Gaming Club, like the overall entity that is like Immortals MIBR, and a few
Sure.
others.
Yeah, I probably remember him from the sale
Yeah.
of Immortals.
He's been involved since back then. So
Alrighty. I like the title.
really,
Hoodie Org versus Church of whatever.
Church of LCS.
Yeah, Church of LCS. Church of Chovy at this point.
wait, did I say Church of LCS? Oh yeah, I did.
There's a C in there. You're
Oh,
too
well.
LCS
I mean,
biased.
that still works. It goes exactly for what
Yeah.
I'm looking for.
I guess.
And then they're versus TLEC.
True. Korea 9, etc.
Yeah, Korea 9, TLEC.
Let me kick this off because I know the three of us can ramble for a long period of time, so I have a feeling this one might go a little bit longer. Welcome, everybody, to episode 24 of the Crossover Podcast. We have officially reached the Jeff Gordon podcast. For those that used to watch NASCAR way back in the day, I can say I did not. I just know the number for some reason. With us, we have my constant co-host, Paul. How you doing, Paul?
Pretty good. How are you all doing?
Yeah, same old, same old. And then
Dang.
we have our guest for the week, a good friend of ours who will be very relevant on the topic in a little bit. But welcome, Zebra Damas, Zebra Dumbass, same thing. How you doing?
I'm doing good. That's great.
Why do you
I mean-
have J Sherm IMT as the other Twitter?
Oh shoot! Wait, I thought I copied yours. Is that in the description of the video?
No, it's on the video.
Wait, what?
It just made me laugh. On stream, it's J Sherm IMT
Where?
D Shadok 23 Charles 50.
Oh shoot! No, that's an OBS thing that I forgot to take off. Which
Oh my god.
I just have to, boom. That's
I was
taken
like,
care of.
people can go there, but if they expect Zebra takes on his Twitter account.
I don't even use my Twitter.
That's why I didn't even update it for because I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
it's
Zebra is
not even
never
worth
on
it.
Twitter.
I don't even care. Like, don't follow me. In fact, unfollow me.
And that's why this one's going to be fun. So I did not tell Paul that Zebra was going to be here. I specifically wanted to keep that as a surprise. He, for some reason, was convinced that I got Spico on the podcast. Take
Yeah.
that for what you want it to be, Zebra. I don't know if you're a letdown in Paul's eyes, but
Probably.
No. It's
I'm
definitely
used to it.
pick me up.
I mean, well, why not just start with where the title is at, which is, and I'll start with the more controversial side of it. It was just announced late last night that LS is going to be the coach of Korea 9, aka Cloud9. The LCS roster with 3 Korean players on it, the coach who clearly prefers the LCK, and he made a promise to win both spring and summer, beat the LPL and LCK in best of 5s at Worlds, and apparently services on weekends. Do you guys have faith?
Pass.
Yeah, my apologies. Mass is on weekends. Do you guys have faith, or are you not anti-Semitic? Are you atheist to the situation?
Uh,
You want to go flirt first, Paul, or what?
I mean, I guess I can go first. I mean, I think getting LS as a coach is a really good idea for, at the very least, if not competitive wise, it's at least going to get people to watch you and tune in and get people interested. So it makes sense there. Uh, I don't know how he'll be as far as competition goes. I think he's a really good analyst. I think his ideas are really good, the way he views the game. Uh, I I'm kind of interested to see how he performs because some of the last times he's been a coach haven't been spectacular. They haven't been completely awful. They've just been more middle of the pack, if I'm remembering correctly, with Gravity and Tempo Storm, right?
Yeah,
Was
I
the
think
other
Tempo
one.
Storm was the other one.
And then I know he did though really help SHC overperform really hard whenever he coached them.
Yeah. Specifically,
But
Selfie was really gave him a
yeah,
lot of praise.
yep. I mean, I've been mostly interested by, like, obviously Reddit's never a good place to go, I guess, for analysis, but a lot of people on there have made me kind of laugh because one guy posted and it had 300 upvotes on the comment where he put LS coached Gravity to first place in spring split. I don't know why people don't think he'll be a perfect head coach. And I was like, Gravity never even cracked fourth, and the time they did crack fourth, or they got to fourth, that was their peak. And when they got there, it was with Cop. So I don't have any clue where people are getting this idea, but I'm
I
excited if that's their
I
expectations.
think they were like rank 1 in this regular season standings for like a week or two. I think
Oh,
that's
okay.
that's where it comes from.
So they peaked first, and people just took it as
Yeah,
them
but then
being.
they got destroyed
Yeah.
by Dyrus's like last good performance ever. Where he literally
Wow.
he 1v9'd Haunter and they were like, we're gonna pick up Haunter next split anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
really
mean,
funny.
it's not even like he's not even a bad pickup though. Honestly, he makes a lot of sense with the players that they got, and I mean, we'll just have to see how it goes. Hopefully, he can keep some of the. I don't know how to say it. I just don't know how he'll do if they lose or if they don't start performing right away.
So
I
basically,
guess.
what you're saying is, if they start losing, he's gonna be the equivalent of TL Breaking Point. That's what I'm
I
hearing.
don't want to go that far. I
I
don't want
actually
to go.
I
What?
kind of agree, yeah. That if
That,
they start losing, it's gonna go really badly.
yeah, that's my only worry. And I'm also pretty worried that it's a developmental roster for the most part. Like, as far as people switching roles and their bottom lane being an unknown.
According to LS, Berserker is gonna come in and be the best ADC in the LCS immediately.
It's easy to say, hard
His,
to do. But yeah.
his words, not mine. I'm not claiming
So
that shit, but
I have a
So what
lot
do
of
you have, Zebra?
thoughts on this, but
Let's go.
touching on your last point, I think mechanically he will be, but
Okay.
it comes down to if he can adjust to and acclimate appropriately to NA culture.
True.
Because we got to remember, this is like, I don't know how old he is. I'm assuming 17, 18-year-old kid coming to North America for the first time ever.
I think 18. Yep. Yeah.
18, yeah. So if he acclimates well and he embraces the culture kind of like Arrow did back on Optic, I think he'll be one of the best mechanically. But on the LS point overall, I'd like to say I'm a pretty big fan of LS. I've known about him since 2014 when he did a AMA on the subreddit Summoner School.
God
And,
damn.
and if you go back to that Reddit thread, you could probably find my question I asked him in that. I completely forgot what it was. I think it had probably something to do with Imp. But anyway, yeah. So I'm a pretty big fan of LS, but I agree with Paul. Like, if it goes south, it's going south really bad, mostly because I just think LS's mental health could take a toll on him if, like, the team is performing miserably. And they're just, like, he's going to get blamed whether they win or lose.
Yeah. Like, there is no doubting that this is. I mean, would you agree that this is probably going to be the most watched roster in the LCS, regardless of whether they win or lose?
I still think TL takes the cake, but they'd have to be top two for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
like the return of Bjergsen is just too hard to pass up. So
Yup.
I don't know.
Oh, you boys wait until Team Speaks Mandarin gets all the Asian viewers.
Team speaks
Bunch of
Mandarin.
fools.
okay, so I've got a question actually. The last time we talked, Paul, you kept saying the phrase, "We'll just have to wait and see what happens," very smugly, like you knew who TSM's mid laner was at the time. Am I reading too much into this? Or
Oh, like I knew.
yeah, you just kept saying the phrase, "We'll just have to wait and see what happens."
No,
I guess.
I have no idea. I just say that because I think it's funny.
I legitimately thought you knew humanoid was
No.
coming or something.
No, all I knew was that our rumored at the time, our LEC rumored mid was humanoid, our LCK one was Fate, and our Chinese one was Cream. So I was like, well, we'll just have to wait and see, because if we get
You were
either one
fully
of those
bought in.
three,
I mean, those are three good options.
yeah,
Yeah.
those are 3
I'd
good
be pretty
options.
smug too, but I legitimately thought you were.
So I was
confident.
smiling because I was like, if we even get one of those three, that's like an easy top 5 mid at the very least.
Oh yeah,
Like
I
in
I think
LCS.
Cream is the best option of those.
Oh, if they announce Cream in the next few days
Like
here.
skill wise, actually, humanoid would probably be better because he speaks English, but I think Cream skill wise is probably
Also,
best.
because humanoid might have better, like he has a larger mage pool, but Cream is just better mechanically, like you said. Like just not even a debate. Now, if their roster, which is rumored to be Shen Yi and Cream, if that's the roster, that's sick. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, that's the same as Cloud9. What?
Especially because you have like the obvious meme that I didn't come up with, you know.
The team speaks Mandarin.
Of yeah, oh yeah. Well, you have LEC on TL, and you have LCK on Cloud9,
Mhm.
and then you have LPL on fucking TSM.
And then you have
Yeah,
100
it's-
Then
Thieves, which is
100
pure
Thieves
international.
is the wild card. Yeah, the wild
Yeah.
card.
And then
They're
EG
on-
is the American roster. Contracts, Jojo Pune, Danny. You got
Well, inspired.
Yeah, inspired.
yeah, shit. And so okay, you have Inspired, but you still have Canadian
Yeah.
Vulcan, you have American Danny, American Jojo
Right.
Pune, and Impact.
Let's
Like-
all be honest here. Having even 2 Americans on a roster at this point in LCS gets you the cake. For having
That's
like,
true. That's true.
the NA roster.
You are the American roster at that point, regardless of whether you want to be or not.
Yeah. But I mean, back to the idea of Cloud9, it really is just, yeah, hopefully they don't implode. I didn't want to say Ellis's mental health because I wasn't sure if that was rude or not, but now that you've said
I
it,
mean,
yeah, I
it
agree.
should
think
be
it's
known.
fair.
It is a
Yeah,
very known thing.
He's taken multiple breaks, you know.
Yep. And it makes me
Because-
nervous. Like, if that's, it doesn't make me nervous, I guess. I don't want to say that. Like, oh, there should be some stigma, but it's more of like, it's just if things blow up, usually people who have issues dealing with that kind of criticism and what comes with that, it doesn't usually end well. Hopefully it works out. Like, because I think for viewership, it'd be really good if C9, TL, and 100 Thieves, TSM or EG were good.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, all 5, it would help a lot.
I mean, I
But
feel
who
like
knows?
we're also just right back to the same thing we had last split, where there's a clear top 5 and bottom 5, and any of the top 5 could realistically make worlds again.
So
Yep.
then, to piggyback off of that, do you agree with LS's statement that this could be a year where the West takes games or best of 5 series off of the LPL and LCK?
It
don't-
depends entirely on the other rosters.
Assuming
But I think-
the current trend though, where the
I
LPL is
think
going to
his-
remain relatively the same, the LCK is remaining relatively the same, the LEC's weaker to start will likely level up to the same level they were at Worlds this year, and North America probably comes in equal to where we are, if not slightly ahead of where we were in 2021.
I think the West could perform well, but if NA has gone up, EU has gone down, so it kind of evens the playing field, right? Or at least
Yeah.
that's
I
the way
mean,
I'm
we
looking at it.
we were already ahead of EU if we're getting really honest about it. Like, even though Fnatic collapsed and you say you exclude them from the matter, our 2 worst teams that we had, even if you take out Cloud9, still arguably performed the same as Europe for the most part.
That's what I'm saying. Like the West includes North America and Europe. So even though North
Oh
America
yeah,
got stronger, Europe got weaker.
yeah.
So it's basically staying even, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Um,
if the format stays the same, I could see an NA team getting semis if they get a really good quarterfinal draw. I think that's
It's-
about the ceiling of NA.
I think a lot of it, oddly, falls on the C9 and TSM experimental, like, or not experimental, but like young people.
Yeah.
If they're actually good and they can push the region, it'd be interesting. But I don't, I don't know if the best thing to do is expect a bunch of 20 or younger, like 20 something younger kids from other regions to make your region elite. And then our other hope is that TL like just pops off. But
See,
TL doesn't have a ton of historically great international players.
Yeah, I'm not sold on TL's mid jungle duo. I'm sorry to say it.
oh,
Yeah.
neither are we. We are not sold on Santorin whatsoever.
I'm
Like,
not sold on Santorin, and like Bjergsen is just like he's not the Bjergsen he once was. That's all I have to say about that.
You know,
And the last time I saw him internationally, he got solo killed.
Yeah.
By a set. So that was
and
interesting.
Bwipo top was a little tough before he went jungle.
Yeah.
That's my only
Yeah,
other.
I agree, but I think part of that was just like he was trying so desperately to get wins that he didn't
That could
care
be
if he
true.
went 0-10 every game.
That's for sure.
If he went 0-10 and won, he was happy with that.
Yeah.
That's true.
You could tell he was trying literally everything and kind of dragging them across the line.
Like it's better to try and do something like that and look like a trash can than it is to just slowly lose but have a good KD.
AKA the reckless effect.
Yeah. Well,
May he rest in LFL.
That's gonna be hype.
It is.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a real possibility with LFL has more viewers than LCS.
It's
Again.
like peak.
Yeah.
Peak wise. Yeah.
Peak wise, I think there's a very realistic chance that happens. Average wise, though, I do think the LCS will still top the LFL, especially given the rosters that we're seeing this year. I don't think there's any reason to not believe that the LCS will have a good rebound in viewership. You're condensing the amount of days that we're playing back down to 2, which is automatically going to be a benefit. You're increasing, like, the top 5 teams are more high profile now in the LCS than they ever have been. And on top of that, you're throwing in a weaker Europe in which you might be able to siphon some viewers. Not many, but some.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't see a world where this isn't the most watched LCS since 2018.
Yeah, I think maybe Reckless's debut might have more views than Bjergsen's reading.
Yeah. No, I agree with that, but that's also a one-off.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
Oh, good.
I was just gonna say I think those two will be the most viewed moments, especially on the first weekend.
Yeah.
And I think LFL takes the cake for peak.
Yep.
Is the LFL in person or are they online?
No idea.
In person, they actually can sell out. They sell out arenas.
For like regular season too, I know for playoffs they do. Like
for regular season, I'm not sure. I'd assume they're going to for Reckless's debut.
Because that's
Why
the
would you
thing.
not?
That's the question I have in my mind. If the LCS truly is the only region that's going to be in person of the West, then there's, like, once again, you're just stacking the deck in the LCS's favor.
Let me see the Carmen Core friendly. There's a Carmen Core friendly coming up.
If
that
that's
they're
in
going to be
person,
playing a
then it will
match
be.
on the 15th in person, and it's going to be pretty crazy. Like,
Who are they playing against in the friendly?
the event is going to hold over 15,000 people.
Oh shit! 15,000 for a friendly?
Yeah, it'll hold. I don't know if it'll sell.
Oh, it'll sell. There haven't been live events in France in a while. It'll sell.
I don't know who they're playing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this
Ebuy.
then.
They're playing Ebuy.
Oh, okay.
The other big team. So.
So let me ask you guys
sell.
this then. What is a definition of success, both in-game and out-of-game, this year for the LCS?
So I think it's a given that year over year, like your gameplay quality should improve. So that's a given. That's not success in my mind. So for in game, I would say the top 2 teams have to just look clean and dominant, like they know what they're doing, like with around dragon setups and just everything. Like if the best team in the league looks incredibly sloppy, that's the telltale sign that the league is gonna get fucked internationally. And out of game, I'd just say a viewership increase because of how abysmal it was last year. Whether that's because they removed co-streaming or not is I can't say. So yeah.
I forgot about that element of it.
I'd also say I think the LCS could expand, like with one more team at least.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm honestly genuinely shocked that you think that. I would have thought you would have been the opposite, where you would say consolidate it down to 8.
I think with how many good players are sitting on the bench, I feel like you could expand it to 11 teams, honestly. And I know 11 is an odd number, but the LPL has 17 teams, so like, come on, it's not that big a deal.
Fair. That's super. You basically eliminate your super weeks. Like you throw in one more. Well, not eliminate them, but you throw
well,
in.
if it's an 11, go ahead.
Yeah.
I was
Same
just gonna say, if
concept.
it's an 11-team league, every team is still playing 10 games per round robin. So it's even though it's an odd number of teams, it's an even number of games for the round robin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can still have 9 weeks with 2 super weeks, and it's still 20 games.
Yeah. In game, I'm looking for just more outplays, like mechanically. I think that LCS players in general don't seem to take the risks that you can watch in China and create, or at least they don't take the easy answers sometimes that come to them in laning. So I'd like a bit more of those. And then I think mainly just team fighting around objectives. I'd like it to be a bit smoother in LCS. That's what I usually look for, is how we posture ourselves. And LCS posturing is never really good, especially around Baron. You can kind of tell how a region's doing based upon how their top 3 teams play Baron. And LCS is just like consistently ugly.
Like the top teams are not clean in any way, shape, or form.
No. Like I think the biggest dooming thing that made me realize LCS wasn't going very far at Worlds, or what reminded me why we won't go far, is when I was watching 100 Thieves just kind of clean house through LCS teams, but simultaneously not knowing what to do from minutes like 15 to 25. I was like, this is not really a great thing that this is happening, so this kind of sucks. Like, unless another team internationally just sprints into them, it's doomed.
Or as long as they smash in the first 15 minutes to the point where it's not able to be
where it's
returned.
not a question.
Which is exactly what they did against EDG, but they weren't able to do in any of the other prior games.
Yeah, and that's like a terrible thing to play the game off of, because assuming that you're going to smash that hard every game is just not realistic.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question, Silver Dave, as a 100 Thieves fan.
Yep.
There's a general sentiment, or more specifically, Sven said this on Summoning Insight, that 100 Thieves weren't even necessarily the best team last year when they won.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that TL collapsed so hard that they ended up winning. How do you feel about that?
I disagree with the collapse part, but I do agree with his general sentiment. I think the biggest thing that 100 Thieves had in their advantage was that they had the best coaching staff to be able to read metas and adapt to changes quicker than anybody else. I mean, that was shown evidently in the summer split, in the spring split. Like, when you give them time to prep and plan out strategies, they can execute on that. When you force them into a high pressure scenario where there's less time, less ability to mold themselves to it, they generally collapsed or fell apart, or teams just had more time to read them. Did TL collapse to a certain extent? Yeah, I'm not going to deny that, but that would also then be writing off how well 100 Thieves played against Cloud9, even in the games that they were behind, that they were able to find fights to come back. and EG was a little bit rough around the edges, but I'm willing to accept that given first game back in 2 weeks, and you still won the series. The games that they won, they looked really, really clean. So clearly, like, 100 Thieves won on just having better strategies that they were able to play to on a more consistent basis. In my mind, that is not a collapse from TL. That is just better, not better execution, but I guess just better game planning.
Okay, I was just curious.
Would you agree with that?
I'm not gonna say one way or the other, to be honest. I just wanted to know how you felt about it. Because I mean, I still believe in any given Sunday, right? That like teams could be equally skilled, but like, or there could be a mismatch, but on any given Sunday, how you play on those games on that day in that series is all that really matters. With that. Part of me does think that TL probably was the better team, though.
I mean, I would still.
They just had an off day, and it happened to be championship fucking day. Like that's how I feel about it.
Tough scene.
I mean, it's tough though because it's like at the same time, when you compare the rosters, okay, Someday I will give was the weakest top laner in the entire tournament, or in the entire playoffs. Like I'm willing to say that up front, even though he did a good job of mitigating what Fudge, what Impact, and others were doing. He was still the weakest top laner. I think we can all.
Are you counting only the top teams?
Yeah, only the top 4. We're not counting freaking
God.
7th and 8th place that still get in the playoffs
Okay.
for some goddamn reason.
Okay, because Fake God played. That's all I'm saying.
No. But would we all agree that Closer
Still
was the
might
best
be.
jungler?
Say it one more time.
Was Closer the best jungler in the LCS
Oh, hands
playoffs?
down, no questions asked.
Yeah.
FBI
Okay.
as well.
Mid lane, I'm willing to give that Jensen was probably the best mid laner in playoffs. Would you or would you not agree?
I think Abadage was pretty. I'd actually say 100 Thieves might take it in the mid lane as well, but it's actually pretty close. Mid lane's
Okay.
probably the closest role.
Okay. FBI by far and away the best bot laner in the LCS.
Yeah, no questions asked. Go next.
Support, I'm willing to give Core JJ, obviously.
I think Core JJ takes it, but it's not that Hui's bad. It's just Core JJ.
Yeah.
Core JJ is Core JJ.
So how are we going to sit here and say that TL collapsed whenever we've already given credence to 3 out of 5 of the best players in the playoffs being from 100 Thieves? That's not a collapse on TL then.
I think TL's mismatch in the top lane is heavily favoring them more than FBI's mismatch in the bot lane.
Fair.
Especially because bot lane is more about supports anyway.
Fair, but what was TL's biggest problem all year? Transitioning leads from top to actually winning games. That's been their problem the entire time that they've had off Ahri. So that same thing that was their strength is not technically their strength.
I
True.
also think that their jungle difference, like between Santorin and Closer, was massive. Like huge. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I just way underestimate Santorin's abilities, but I don't get how he's still their option for a super team.
I don't think I underestimate him as an option, but I look at him the same way that I look at Xmithy, where you're very much a glue player.
Yeah, like a mechanically better Smithy, essentially, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, which has its role, but at the same time, the only way that you like truly form a super team is if you have a player that can actually carry in every single role. There's a reason why super teams just, quite frankly, don't exist outside of like G2 and FPX. It's like it's very rare that you get the 5 best players in their role that also mesh well and perform well at the same time.
But even honestly, on FPX, I think most people. Sorry to interrupt. I think most people would have said LWX wasn't even that good of an AD carry. Like, obviously he's good, but like most people would have put a lot more people above LWX that season.
So then the only true super roster that we've ever actually seen would be G2.
No, because Damwon's, even I know Ghost, people say Ghost wasn't that good, but Damwon's roster was literally so dominant.
Like you could go through every
so crazy.
You could go through every super team in history and pick out a weak link. But I think specifically in their region, G2 had a top 2 player.
That's true.
In every role. And quite frankly, I think they had 2 of the best players in their region on the same team.
Yeah.
True.
And that's where it's like that is the standard to me for as a super team. Like, you have to come into it with that expectation. That's not guaranteeing that it will mesh well, but that needs to be the standard, and I'm not willing to classify Team Liquid as that.
Oh no.
Yeah, they're just favorites.
Yeah, TL's really good. Like, really,
Yeah.
really good. But again, I'm not sold on the mid jungle duo.
And even I Will Dominate said in a video I was watching, like, TL's the heavy favorites. They're just also like somebody could catch them.
Yeah.
Like, because I know the way he put it, I like the way he worded it, was like C9 and TSM's whatever developmental rosters you want to call them, experimental, are like really they're fifth place teams that have potential to like break third and like well at least break top three and stay there if they can figure it out. But the big thing is like the two obvious picks are 100 Thieves and TL. Assuming 100 Thieves, well, that's assuming that I forget his name, Tenacity. Yeah, actually performs, which I assume he will.
He will.
It's just you never know.
I'm telling you right now, he will. I've seen enough from the guy to know. And I mean, I look at it this way: worst case scenario, what Sunday's playing, and we already know exactly how that roster is going to play out there. So you know where your floor's at, but you don't know where your ceiling's at. That's a great problem to have.
Yeah, I agree.
So
And
okay,
then that leaves EG.
I mean, EG.
So we also don't know.
I still lump EG in with
like,
TSM and Cloud9 though.
Yeah, they are there. They are.
Yeah,
exactly.
they're the same.
That's just like the clear top 5 and the bottom 5. But even in the top 5, you have the top 2.
Yeah, the clear
The
top
other,
two.
yeah, and the other 3 could go anyway.
Which
Yep.
there's 3 likely scenarios then. You have one scenario where TL and 100 Thieves prove themselves to be the top 2, and the developmental rosters are exactly that, and they get stuck, 3rd through 5th, and we don't truly push ourselves as a region, and we have a meth world. You have a world where all the developmental rosters absolutely flop and look like crap, and we perform horribly at Worlds. Or
Very possible.
you have the third scenario where all the development rosters perform well, and it pushes us as a region to a level that we've never been at. Any of those scenarios is possible. It's just a matter of how the cards lay out.
Yeah,
Honestly,
one of our
I think we're just par for the course of another NA year.
unlikely. Yeah.
Maybe I'm always huffing the hopium, so that's fine. I'll gladly assume that role. But something about this year feels different.
Like, I don't know. I was just gonna say I want NA to do well, but they never have. And the thing is, I want NA to do well because they're good, not because they lucked into a good group and then lucked into a good group draw, and then the enemy team got fucking pneumonia, and then they lucked into semifinals. Like, I don't want that. I want them to be good. I want them to place good because they are good, not because they got lucky.
Well, I have good news for us all. Because last time we had a Chinese team in America, we performed pretty good at Worlds. We weren't too shabby. We looked pretty decent. And now this time, we have one more chance for a completely Chinese, almost, roster.
You're referring to the time Vince Garen trolled?
Yes.
TSM got out of groups and then took a single game off Samsung White while they were trolling in draft.
Exactly. And that's our only hope, is to get back to that level. And if we can't, then so be it. So be it. We weren't meant to win. But
Okay.
if we can. Oh my goodness. Imagine when our two teams aren't even speaking, when all three of our teams really could not be speaking English.
Okay, Silver Dave, I know we were going to transition, but I have to ask this question before we transition.
Yep.
I asked this to you guys the last time we spoke. I want to know if your answer has changed. If you're going to make 3 NA super teams, what are your 3 rosters?
With our current players right now.
Well,
Or
you
with
can
anyone.
take liberties for like 1 import per team.
Wait,
I mean, like one import that isn't playing in NA already.
Yeah.
Similar
Yeah.
to how you guys chose Humanoid and Elyoya last time.
I'll let you go, Paul.
Well, I mean, that's really hard now because the top lane pool didn't really get a ton better.
I think we're
It
taking Core
arguably
JJ
went-
support, right?
Yeah,
On our first
core,
team.
core JJ
Yeah.
support is the given, like no other
On the
question.
first team.
Yeah,
FBI 80 carry probably.
yeah. FBI is still my AD carry. Until Berserker proves himself to be this quote-unquote god that can literally take over the LCS, FBI is my carry.
Core JJ, FBI, mid lane doesn't matter. None of ours are good enough.
I want to take Abadage on my first team,
Yeah, I think Abadage is Abadage or Pearson, really, or
but
Fudge.
No,
I feel like
don't
you
know.
kind of have a ceiling with Abadage too.
Yeah. And Abadage is one of those players that can flex how he plays. He can carry a game, or he can sit back and play a little bit more passive. Like I like how he fits into a team where I'm trying to stuff carries everywhere else.
Yeah, jungle. I'm biased. I'm taking Spica. Don't care. You can take whoever you want.
So that means then the top laner has to be native unless Core JJ got a green card.
Hasn't he got his green card almost?
He does that. Yeah, we are under the assumption that Core JJ has his green card.
Okay, so then we can get import top. Who are we taking? Are we going
I'm going Chinese top
What?
laner. I don't care who. Throw me
Ale?
anybody. Probably, yeah. Ale.
Oh, I
Ale
was
or
just gonna
Summit?
take Summit. Yeah, I was like, we already have Summit here.
True.
Give me Summit.
I would take. I don't know.
I mean, if I'm going anybody, I'm gonna go, like, buy me a therapist and I'll go grab Nuguri and we'll have a great team.
I don't think it's that simple, but okay.
To respond to Alex in chat, the sole reason why I would not take Closer is because he uses up an import spot in jungle. And you'd have
Yeah,
to keep
exactly.
Resident top, and I don't have enough faith in Tenacity right now that the opportunity cost is better than if I were to import top. So
Give me Fake God.
Oh god.
Stop.
I'm curious. Where did you think I was going to transition this to, Zebra?
I thought you were gonna ask about the Immortals.
No.
Game.
I was
Oh,
not.
okay.
Not yet. There's something I wanted to respond to and ask you guys about this in chat because this has been a very relevant topic. Suzu started talking about the contract buyouts of players, and it's one of the reasons why we're even seeing Reckless in the LFL, why Jensen's not playing, why Niski is not playing.
Svenskeren.
Yeah. What is your guys' take on is this smart management? Is this horrible optics and horrible looks from the LCS? Is this players being absolutely dumb? Like, what's your take?
I don't even know where I saw this, but I think it's just basic course correction because players were overpaid for so long that I guess people finally realized that spending a boatload of money to just get middling results wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I just think it's basic course correction. It really does suck that these are talented players who should be in the LCS and just aren't because they're stuck behind contracts. But what can you do? I mean,
I've been saying this for years that the players need to unionize, and this should be part of that. Where it's like, this is not me saying that the players are dumb because I'm sure they're just trying to negotiate the largest amount of money that they can. But like Fudge signing a 4-year deal with Cloud9 is the stupidest thing that I've ever seen in my life. Why? You're screwing yourself. Because it was Tim from Oracle's Elixir who pointed out that most people don't realize this, so if I can spread this here, great. When a player is moved from LCS to Academy, there's a salary adjustment that comes with that. So you're not paying, so say Perks goes from making 2.5 million over 2 years and he gets demoted to Academy. There's likely a clause in his contract that states that if we move you to Academy, we're only paying you $150,000 rather than the full amount of his contract as promised during his time in the LCS. And obviously all that is prorated. Like, I'm not getting into the math of it, but it's like, these players are not costing orgs what people think they are. That's
I
already
honestly
built
didn't
into
know that.
contracts.
I honestly didn't know that, and that changes a lot, to be honest.
Yeah.
Really screws.
It doesn't work the other way around. Like, let's say an academy player on the minimum gets bumped up to LCS. Are they still making the minimum?
They're required, if they are not agreed to for LCS minimum, if they're if there's nothing stated in their contract about LCS salary and they get bumped up, they're required to make the minimum amount of the LCS if they are not already making that. However, I would imagine some academy players, probably like Kenvi and maybe some others, have that in their contracts that like, hey, if I get bumped up, how much you paying me? It's not going to be a high amount still, but point remains.
Well, I was just thinking like when Tactical got promoted from academy to LCS, like he was still on his academy salary. I'm assuming, right?
No, he would have probably either renegotiated his deal or gone at league minimum.
Really?
Yeah,
That's how they do it?
You are it's
No.
league...
But the academy minimum is the same as the LCS minimum. I thought.
I don't think it is.
I thought it was both 75K.
No, I think academy's lower, isn't it?
I thought academy was 75K a year.
They pay him less than 75 to live in LA. That's tough.
I'm double checking this now.
Unless they have
I mean,
housing paid for.
I was under the assumption that the academy minimum was the same as the LCS minimum, and it was around 75K.
Yeah, so it looks like a 75K. But point being, if you're an academy player and you are making more than 75K, then no, technically nothing is changing. But for this is going to be more of a deal for LCS pros getting demoted to academy.
that sucks for starters, though. It really does.
But I mean, that's smart business. Why would you not have that clause in your contract if you're an LCS team? Like that, people can get pissed off at the orgs all you want.
Okay,
I don't give a shit.
so then let me
That's
ask this
smart.
question. These players we're talking about who are still under contract, not bought out, not playing, not even on academy teams, are they making a lower salary while not playing, or the exact same salary while not playing?
I would assume, again, this is me assuming, so this is not anything to be taken as fact, but I would assume them not playing would be whatever the academy salary is. There's probably not a third level in negotiation because no player would probably ever agree to that. I am assuming.
That's really strange to me. Like I thought Jensen is rumored to be on like 1.4 million a year, right?
Yeah.
I thought he would be making 1.4 million a year whether he was playing or not. So
No. Now, if he gets like injured from the LCS team, I'm sure there's like liability clauses and stuff like that that would protect him there. But if you get demoted because of play, no. There's no, like, as long as it's in your contract, they're allowed to demote you.
but he's not demoted. He's just not playing.
Yeah, he's just not playing.
He's not on academy or LCS team.
I can't speak to anything. It's just a matter of what's in the contract.
And does he have a non-demote clause? I'm sure you could have a non-like.
Oh, I get
sure you could
no.
have a
I
clause.
promise you, no player was smart enough to have a non-demote clause. There's no way.
I don't know if he has an agent and he's signing a 1.4 million deal. There's got to be something he thought about.
Look, the only two people that I know that had smart agents when it came to the LCS were Sword Art, who somehow guaranteed most of his $6 million up front, which is insane that TSM was willing to do that. And then second is HOODIE for somehow negotiating his way into whatever situation he's always in.
Wait, wasn't it like 1.8 million at some point?
What, for Sword Art or HOODIE?
No, HOODIE.
Yeah, I think it was somewhere around there. It was a
I don't know
fairly
if it was
large amount of money.
I don't know if it was 1.8 a year or 1.8 over 2 years. But
I'm assuming for top laners it'd be 1.8 over 2 years because Alfari was the highest paid top laner and he was making $1 million a year.
I just remember, I don't know where it was. I think maybe some late night talk show, but Rick Fox was on it and he was like, our top laner is making over 600,000 a year or something like that.
Yeah.
He said something.
Where was he?
But
yeah, I remember him saying this.
he put it somewhere in the ballpark of like 600 to 800,000 ish, if I remember correctly. So like assuming 750K a year or something like that.
Yeah. Point remains. It's, in my opinion, it's smart business from LCS owners and management. And anybody looking at this as them not being able to, them basically trapping talent into minor league or minor regions and them not getting on teams. I'm sorry, if you were good enough, you'd get that money, but you're not.
Well, the way I'm looking at it is like you got overpaid for a year, and so now you're just not playing. Like whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks that you're wasting your, your pro years not playing, but I guess the obvious point is that some team, at some point, their quote unquote developmental / experimental roster is going to choke or heavily underperform, and then they're going to buy out all these good players and make a push in summer. I think
Yeah.
EG is probably in the best position to do so since they already have Svenskeren and Ignar. But I'm just saying, I think a lot of these benched players or not playing players are going to end up playing anyway. So
I think I disagree. EG is the only team that I could see doing that, but even then, like, unless Vulcan truly has fallen off the face of the planet, I don't see anybody else being like a significant upgrade. JoJo's the
Some
only
bottom
risk that you
five
have.
team. Some bottom 5 team is just hoping that they get an itch to
well,
play.
I think EG could sell 2 of their players and then buy someone else out
That's
to
fair.
replace one of their underperforming players. So you could sell Svenskeren and Ignar and then either get a new AD carry or a mid laner, depending on who underperforms.
Yeah. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. But that kind of. Oh, go ahead, Paul.
I was gonna say a lot of them players that aren't even playing, like some of them are good, but some of them weren't even that good last year. So,
Such as
but I think one of the Svenskeren doesn't shock me. He's not finding a team.
Agreed.
I think because he's a native, I think he's
Sure,
worth
maybe.
playing.
I don't know what team though. I mean, if you're a top 5 team, unless you're TL, I guess maybe. I don't think it's worth even putting him in for one of your guys.
Who would you rather have, Kenvi or Svenskeren?
Kenvi.
Exactly.
Probably Kenvi.
But Kenvi's holding out. He's
But
not.
if I'm
He's
a top-
intentionally not playing.
None of the
bottom
top 4 or 5 teams right now that have a jungler, other than TL, want to replace their jungler. They like Inspired, Spica, Closer,
Blabber.
and like Blabber. I feel like are pretty much staples. Yeah, I had to think for a second on Blabber because Blabber, I feel like, is the only one I could see getting replaced.
In the
Like-
context of NA, I think he's really good.
He's really good for here. I just had to pause because my thought process was like, maybe he decides to flash for a scuttle and LS loses his mind and finds another jungle. Like
There's
I
a
don't know.
world where
I'm-
that happens.
I'm really interested to see if like LS is gonna take the approach of like I'm implementing all my ideas and I want all my players bought into my ideas, or if he's gonna fall into
Yeah.
the trap a lot of coaches fall into, where it's like I don't want to pick Renekton here, but my top laner is saying we should pick Renekton here.
Yep.
There is no way that LS does that. I'm guaranteeing it right now. LS is going to be the Bill Belichick equivalent of the NFL. That's not saying that he's going to succeed like Bill Belichick. He's not going to find a Mac Jones and a Tom Brady. But it's more that like he's going to put in a system that if you cannot fit into it, you will be removed. And that's your problem, not mine. Sorry.
Well, LS would not have drafted Nocturne in Game 5 for top lane.
That is fair.
I would hope not.
That is very fair. He would
When I
lose his mind.
saw that,
I
that's
think
when I knew.
If all your players are bought into your system, you're already a step ahead.
Yep.
So if all his players are bought into his system, regardless of what the system is, I think that team is probably going to be the 3rd place team
Yeah.
behind 100 Thieves and TL. And I know that hurts for you to say or agree with me as a TSM fan, Paul, but
No, I mean it's just the way it is. Watch
Who's-
it. It's assuming they buy in.
Who's TSM's head coach?
Chawi.
Reginald. What?
Allegedly Chawi.
Okay, so
Reginald can't even talk to this team. They speak another language to protect themselves.
that's fair. So let me ask you this, Paul. Do you have faith that TSM would be the type of team this year to buy into a system, which is incredibly important for a development roster out of anybody?
I mean, well, I still need to know who their top and support are,
Yeah.
or mid and support are. Then I can like
But
try
let's
to
say
make
we
assumptions.
assume it's the rumors.
Shenyi
Shenyi
and-
Cream.
Yeah, Cream. Then, I mean, I'd be very excited for it because I don't see HOODIE as somebody who like HOODIE really plays to his he plays to what's around him. So I think if he sees them like going super aggressive. And honestly, with some of the initiations Cream had, this team could like not want to go in, and Cream is still going in, so they kind of have to. And I think they have good players for being aggressive. But they'd have to really buy into that stereotypical like LPL aggression, even though
I mean,
it's
if they have Cream, I think they do. I think Cream is just the guy who plays melee champs and goes in.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he plays melee champs or Oriana, and he perma engages all game. That's literally it.
Now, this is why
And
like
he, yeah,
this is probably the most excited I've been to actually watch LCS games in a very long time because you have
yeah,
Korea 9 if Ellis's team buys into his system, then you have the potential for Cream to just come in and just shake things up and just be the crazy mid laner. Like
Yep.
I hate when a player just plays standard and they don't even play standard well. Like I'd
Yeah.
rather you try something and fail miserably, like leader style or
Mhm.
Xiao Wei Zhao back in the day with his Karthus mid and Yasuo mid when it wasn't meta and shit like that. I'd rather see that and have it fail miserably than you just pick Orianna and AFK farm and get fucked, like Ryoma.
Yep.
Or like whiff spells on Zoe as Ryoma.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
really all I'm hoping for them. I mean, Chai as a coach, like, I don't know how to read that. I don't know what Chai does. I can't even speak the man's language. I know he speaks English really well. I listened to an interview of him 3 years ago speaking like pretty much perfect English.
I
Like,
mean,
so
didn't he place top 8 at season 5 Worlds?
yeah, he also like played here.
So
He
that's
played with
that's
Dom, oddly enough.
yeah. I know who Chaw is, but like I'm pretty sure he was on HKA. Right?
HQ, I think, or something like
Oh
that.
yeah,
Or was
AHQ.
it?
Yeah, AHQ.
Yeah.
HQ. Yeah.
He was, I mean, he's really good, like smart brain of the game. I mean, honestly, the team has a really high ceiling, like assuming they could make it, and their age level. Like, I know it's not exactly what people thought they were going to get when TSM said we were going to go more developmental. They didn't expect a bunch of young Chinese kids, but
I mean, I
I
did. I don't
mean,
know about you, but like,
I'm, and you're not going to catch me like sad that when they said developmental, they decided to go with LPL players. Like, I don't know. That's pretty exciting to me. So, I mean, because if this team works out at all, you have to hope they can just try to keep them together. But that's assuming a lot. And
yeah,
there's a lot that has to go right.
it definitely feels like this year, the top 5 teams are throwing literally everything they can at it, and not everything they can in
Maybe.
like the old school style of like, oh, we're just gonna throw as much money as we can. It's like no, they're legitimately testing every strategy that they can to try and make worlds, because I think every single one of them understands how important it is to make it to worlds in North America for your brand.
I don't even know, though, because I don't feel like TSM and Cloud9 really made decisions that are this year decisions.
I mean,
Completely.
I feel like Cloud9 definitely did. Like this year feels like a
Maybe.
Cloud9 is giving it a year of development to see if it can develop to where they need it to be. Sure, they might not, be in optimal form. Yeah, maybe that might be next year. But like the expectation is still very much there to make worlds.
Yeah.
But they had to go through a non-traditional route since they didn't get Bjergsen and they didn't get
True.
some of the early pieces that they wanted. They had to test the other strategy to see if it will work, because they just have to. You can't not make worlds in North America, given that this will be the only time in 5 years that you get this chance.
Yeah. I mean, really, it doesn't matter where a team wins worlds at. If a North American team can manage to break into finals ever, that'll be kind of the biggest team ever.
Definitely. Anything
But
you
that
guys
seems impossible.
Anything else you guys want to say on the matter before I transition us to a slightly different topic?
I mean, I'm sure I'll probably think of something after the fact, but at the moment, no.
Yeah. No.
So I'm gonna.
Oh.
Oh, good.
I was just gonna say, honestly, I don't think that any of these experimental teams, like the 3 through 5th place teams, I don't think they got the full roster they really wanted.
Nope.
No, I don't
And
think
that
so either.
disappoints me. Like I think they had to settle on at least one of their pieces,
Mhm.
specifically Korea 9 support. Like,
Mhm.
I don't think Winsome was probably their first choice, but
No.
oh well.
And I don't think TSM was trying to go with two 17-year-old Chinese players. But
Well, TSM I could buy that more than I could buy Cloud9's. Because
I don't think
TSM,
Winsome was their first choice.
no, definitely not. There's no way.
Yeah. I just
Especially
don't feel like
because
this.
if they had real confidence in him, I don't think they would be making it like abundantly clear that like it could be Isles or it could be Winsome. It would just
Yeah.
be Winsome's our guy.
Yeah, because they were like, Sven is our Academy ADC. And then they were like, and so's Isles-ish.
Somewhat. It depends. So I'll use that.
I'm just glad we got the best ADC in the league. Whew, where would we be without
Mechanically.
Tactical? Whew.
Yeah,
Ooh.
okay. Okay.
Holy cow.
I mean, you had him from the jump and you never promoted him.
Absolutely
That
insanity.
is fair.
And where's Prismal at it? Do you guys remember when there was like a solid like 1.5, 2 years where Prismal Tactical, everyone's like Prismal Tactical, Prismal Tactical.
Yeah.
I mean, we were one of those crew, but back in the
And-
Optic days.
Then we sold Johnson right after.
Johnson didn't really amount to
Tactical.
much, but you know.
Johnson got hosed, bro. Those teams he was put on were dead weight.
Didn't he have like one good split? Didn't he get a 4th place on some team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was with
He,
Afromu,
like,
who he's playing with again this year.
Hard carried FlyQuest. No, he hard carried Dignitas for one split. And then he got you could just see it in his eyes. Like that one split was like 8 years of aging for him. And the next split he came in and played, he just looked dead inside every game. He was like, I'll never get given to a good team. I'm stuck.
Yeah. He's screwed. So on that note, shifting towards the bottom tier teams, we are gonna have Immortals CEO Jordan Sherman on next week, but I wanted to talk about something that they said in their podcast this week that it's not that it irked me the wrong way. It's just like I'm not sure I agree with the philosophy of it. So whether this is technically true or not, Ari Segal said that Immortals is profitable. And that their various business lines, including MIBR, are profitable. Obviously,
Did he specify? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, he didn't specify like what sections, what areas.
Yeah, I was gonna say if it's the company as a whole, I'd understand. If it's the esports section,
He just said Immortals, which would include like Wild Rift and other areas like that. So any like mobile games, any like Valorant Immortals is in, stuff like that. Like, now what he said could be also construed if he wanted to politically, manipulate it. He could be like, oh, he said that they're a profitable entity. He could have been speaking metaphorically, saying that one day they will be. I could see where that like excuse would come in.
okay, well,
My question to you guys is this. Do you think it's worth being profitable and also being what I would consider a B tier organization, or be unprofitable in the moment and be an S tier working towards profitability? Because this relates to the 100 Thieves announcement today that they took on $60 million additional dollars of funding. They're still not profitable, but they're working towards it, and they're saying that they will get there one day.
I'm going the latter. I think it's better to be a top tier org that isn't necessarily making money, but is well on their way to do so, than it is to be profitable now, but seen as subpar. And the most obvious example I can give you is Unicorns of Love, who probably were pretty profitable, but nobody looked at them as like a serious organization.
Yeah.
Mostly because they were like, min-maxing getting very good players on, you know, minimal contracts, etc., very little expensive, you know, whatever.
They were playing Moneyball for sure.
Yeah, and I'm speculating, right? Unicorns of Love might have been losing as much money as everyone else, but from the outside looking in, it looked to me like UOL was trying to be as profitable as possible, but seen as a a second-class citizen to Fnatic G2.
Yeah.
Hence why they are not in LCS or LEC anymore.
They're in what, the Russian league?
Yeah, CIS.
Yeah.
Yeah,
LCL.
they win it like every year or something.
They have a
Same.
lot of close calls, though, also.
Oh.
Yeah.
They go to Game 5 in their summer finals often.
I mean, I don't know how else to answer other than the way he just did. Like, I don't see why you'd want to be a B tier org that has minute profitability. Like, maybe if you had insane profitability, but I mean, I don't think anybody wants to just be average. So
It also depends to
Yeah.
what extent you're bleeding the money. Like,
True.
Yeah,
if
that
you're,
is
if you're
that is
profiting like 100K versus some team losing 500K, I'd rather be the team losing 500K if I was popular.
fair. Yeah.
yeah,
I agree with it because there, by all means, I know in asking this question there is a lot of ambiguity. We don't know the numbers; they're not public. The only the only public numbers that we will ever know will be CLG and FaZe Clan. And FaZe Clan, none of those numbers are out yet.
Yeah, and I'd just like to say the numbers I made were just complete examples.
That
So.
you're fine.
yeah. I mean, it's not like there's a collective or whatever bargaining agreement that spreads the wealth equally amongst the teams currently. So, I mean, if something like that decides to come a revenue sharing, decides to go massive with some massive brand deal, I guess you're cool with being the B tier team because if you're profitable and getting the revenue share, why not? Double dip.
That's the only world where I see this play being smart. Is if Immortals is truly just waiting out, or like not even just Immortals, like Dignitas, everybody else. If you're waiting it out to see if the LCS becomes profitable, get that rev share coming through, and like that drives your profitability, and then you want to brag from there, because then you're not tied up with venture capitalist funds. Like you have a lot more flexibility to build from there once you have that sustainable source of revenue coming in. But you're still fighting an uphill battle. Once you start getting money from them, TSM, 100 Thieves, and the rest, they're already... Jesus Christ. They're already 5 steps ahead. I'm going to let you guys take this.
Damn, Silver Dave's dog completely ruined my my train of thought.
I don't really have like a ton I feel like can be said other than what you were stating of like you'd rather be the popular team because the popular team at the end of the day has a higher chance of like you have a better chance of getting more
Long-term,
revenue.
long-term
long-term.
successful. But like I was saying, it also depends to what extent you're losing money. Like if you're popular and
Yeah.
you're bleeding like 10 mil, you're losing 10 million a year. That's
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
But if you're popular and you're only losing like 1 or 2
Yeah.
million a year, I could understand that. And also, another point I was gonna make is that a lot of these esports orgs are profitable off of their non-esports ventures, and this is a point that I hear all the time on Summoning Insight, is that TSM is mainly profitable off their like ad business, their advertising business. They own Blitz.gg.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're profitable off stuff like that, and like formerly their website, their guides. Solomid.net used to be like a place where you get League of Legends guides. I don't know if they still do that anymore, but they were profitable.
No,
off
that's
that.
all been transitioned to Blitz. So Blitz now incorporates all that.
Yeah, so they're profitable off that, not necessarily their esports division.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I can promise you right now, there's not a single esports organization out there that is profitable when you isolate the esports variable.
That's
None.
what I'm saying.
Yeah. Blitz gives them Valorant, Fortnite, League.
Yeah.
Everything really. So even TFT, like
And like back in the day, Curse/Team Liquid had their guide website, like lolpro.net.
Yep.
Or...
They still have Liquipedia and a few other digital assets as well. So
Exactly.
Liquid is still very much in the web money as much as TSM is.
I
Maybe
mean,
to a lesser extent.
key.
Yeah, like all those orgs are profitable off other
Yeah.
stuff, not esports.
If you're TSM, are you just kind of sitting there going with the Chinese kids because you're like, maybe when they go home and stream, they'll get blitz on a couple more computers, and they're
Yeah.
like, this is our real profitability, so
I mean, you
might as
could.
well just keep pumping it.
I mean,
Because yeah.
Oh, good.
Oh, there was just a couple. I think I saw one time like Sword Art posted blitz on his Weeboo account, and I was like, can you imagine TSM like is sitting there, and one of their like heads walks in the room and goes, "Okay, we're really sorry to make you do this, Sword Art, but we need you to go on your Weeboo and post about this."
Oh, it just reminds me of the Peter Zhang HTC phone commercial.
Yes, yes. they're like, we need you to pay back your contract, bud. Just one post. Go on. They're like, slap it in there. I mean, they have a whole like TSM Chinese Weibo now that they
A lot of
promote and
orgs do.
everything.
A lot of
Yeah.
orgs
Yeah.
do, don't they?
You'd be dumb
Yeah.
not to.
So now they're really hard on it. So it makes sense to go grab these two players, try to push your apps that make you money, and kind of just hose the rest. And I mean, if you ever need money again, you can always just call Steph Curry up, and Steve calls Disney, and Optic or 100 Thieves calls whoever else exists. So
Drake.
yeah,
Yeah,
Drake,
Scooter.
Drake and Lil Nas. I
Scooter.
don't know.
Scooter just gonna keep selling Taylor Swift's old albums while he can, and just funneling
Yeah.
that money to 100 Thieves as pocket change until it goes away when she's redone all of her albums.
I mean, how does a org become profitable off of streamers? Like, I feel like streamers will
depends
just
on the
ditch you
contracts,
for
right?
another one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So with them, it's basically like you're getting a certain amount of impressions based on like at the amount of ads that you have like on the screen. So obviously having like, you know, say the Cadillac logo for TSM or anything like that. Like you can also feature. They're going to be obligated to do a certain portion of contract or content within TSM, do ad reads for TSM themselves. Like it's not like directly on the individual stream. The stream is more like to promote the brand itself, to which then they will also be featured in content. Like that's more
Yeah,
of that side, and then
that's-
you profit off of those videos and that type of content and the impressions that are driven there.
Yeah, I just went to look up a thing about the 100 Thieves thing on Twitter, and the first thing I see is the Grizzlies just lost 152, or just beat the they beat the Thunder 152 to 79. So
That
there's
is
that.
Kind of
That's basketball.
It's like playing against CLG. Jesus.
yeah, sports. Yes, they are
Speak-
played.
Speaking of sports,
Yeah, sports ball.
one of the best parts about sports is the fact that you can play it recreationally. And you can play it as an adult even when you're
Okay.
outside of pure competition. For those that don't know, Immortals just launched a fan tournament, which I forget what they're calling it, like the Bronze League, whatever it is. But basically, you have to be Gold 4 or below, and you can play as a fan on behalf of one of 4 LCS organizations and represent them in a tournament under that org's branding.
Okay.
Wouldn't it be incredible if something like that existed a few years ago?
For sure. No doubt.
I wonder who
Look.
played in a league like that.
Look,
Yeah, I
I'm
bet it would
just-
be
I'm
headed
just
up
gonna
by a
give
total
the-
tool.
I'm just gonna say the same sentence I say every time. It is actually an incredibly enjoyable idea. I enjoyed my time playing in it, but it was very terribly done. Amazing idea, terrible execution. If they execute it right, it'll be fun for the people playing in it. But I don't know who else would want to watch it aside from seeing Captain Flowers.
It's not about, I don't, like, this is one of those
They-
things though where I don't think it's about people watching it.
Oh
I
no,
just-
that's what I'm saying. It's just like you're just getting fan engagement.
Yeah.
It's also, as somebody who played in it, played in a couple of them, I guess. When you're playing in it is also very interesting the scrim amounts per team. Because I'll say probably the team that I played on where you were our head coach and we scrimmed probably the least amount
Yeah,
was probably the best team I had been on.
Yeah.
yeah,
and we rarely played.
that was
Sorry.
my experience too.
Yeah.
The teams that I had the least amount of practice on in these leagues did the best. Like our season 2 roster, we practiced a lot. We went out
Yeah.
in quarters.
Yeah.
My other 2 teams didn't practice at all, and I lost in game 5 and finals and got top 4 in the other one.
Yeah, and we were
So-
barely beaten by the clearly hardest working team there.
I still take full responsibility for that. I entered the last 2 games. I know.
It doesn't matter.
For those
were
watching
giga
us on
trolling
VOD
anyways.
that have no clue what we're talking about,
I was giga trolling as well.
so Zebra, myself, and Paul, we all played for Optic Gaming's fan team back in 2018, or I think it was like late 2017, early 2018.
It was like 2018.
Yeah.
Like mid to late 2018 for me.
Me and Paul were ADCs the first time, or the first year that we played. We split time there before Zebra decided to bench both of us for somebody else in the playoffs.
To
which
be
I'll continue.
fair, we
Wasn't
destroyed
worse.
the best team in the league in scrims with the third AD carry the very night before we played. So
Yeah. That is the one argument that I think Zebra and I have ever actually gotten into.
we didn't really argue. You were just mad at like everyone in that whole call. It felt like.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I was frustrated in
Well,
general.
I think it was just anger
just
more
remember
towards the fact that it didn't matter. It
Silver
was
Dave's
ADC, to be
point.
honest.
Silver Dave's point was just like we should win as a team and lose as a team. Whereas my argument was I legitimately thought in the moment our best chance of winning was playing with my friend Mike, who we again destroyed the best team in the league in scrims the night before.
And I can't dispute that point. Like that is a fair argument. It's just a matter of where your priorities lie.
I think
ultimately.
we should focus on the fact that you could have put whoever you wanted to in their mama in that bottom lane. It wouldn't have mattered, my
Oh
friends.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that,
Like,
that game
the thing
would've-
is, even though we benched you, Dave, we were the best performing lane all 2 games or both games, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so
Yeah.
the game that I was in, we won, and then the game, or no, did we lost the game? that I was in.
I'm pretty sure we went 0-2.
Yeah, no, we went 0-2, but you and I still smashed lane.
Yeah, we dominated lane. The next game, me and my friend Mike dominated lane even harder, but we still lost. So
I
it's
remember
just-
what? Sorry.
it was just a collapse, right? Like it's no one's fault. But
Yeah.
like, essentially, Jaybert, who was our worst performing player all season, and he'd agree with this,
Love you, Jay.
was actually our 3rd best performing player in that series.
Yeah.
So
It was a toughie.
no flame, they'd admit it too. Our mid jungle heavily underperformed that series.
Who was our mid jungle?
David Kento.
Yeah.
It was Dave.
Yeah.
Kento
for
and his
those, it's
friend
not
Dave.
me, different Dave.
Our best mid was clearly Zebra and whatever goober you wanted to put with Kevin.
Oh, it's so
I
That our-
remember when
Go ahead.
Zebra and I were playing bot one game and we picked Lucian and like Leona hard stopped, got to their tier 2 and said, where do we go from here? Because everyone else was losing lane. And then Mason after the game said, you guys aren't allowed to pick Lucian anymore. And we both went, well, why? It worked. And he was like, because the rest of the team doesn't know what they're doing when you pick Lucian.
I don't even remember that. That's funny.
I picked Lucian like twice. We hard stomped both lanes. We would get like really far down bottom lane. Maybe I played it with Kevin. It doesn't matter. Who, you know what I mean?
It could have been either way. I do remember like I stomped every single lane I played that season. I just don't remember this
Yeah.
specific instance.
I mean, it was just brutal because Mason would be like, clearly nobody knows what to do if we win lane too fast. So, and we can't just walk mid and take mid tower instantly. So he was like, just pick Tristana so you can take mid tower faster. And I went, okay. And I would just walk
I had
mid.
no arguments. You already know Tristana is my favorite AD carry to play with Leona, and I'd like
I
to
know.
say that I was ahead of this line of thinking in meta long
He
before
was.
it became popular in pro
Sure.
play.
He was. I cannot
Silver
look
Table
at...
attest to this. I always told him Leona Trist is my favorite lane.
Yep.
So, like,
And it worked.
my style of learning and the way I prefer to be coached is counterintuitive to what most people would think. I prefer to be flamed. Like, if I'm fucking up, yell at me. Like, if you yell at me, it's gonna permanently ingrain it in my mind to not do it again. And Zebra would do that consistently, but the one thing that for some reason just never went through for the longest time was me playing Tristana. I would play it at a decent level, even after like getting coached by Zebra for for probably like 3-4 months. Still couldn't get comfortable on it for like a year minimum, and I don't know why. But Zebra was very much ahead of the curve. So now anytime I pick Tristana or anytime I see a Leona, it's like, okay, somebody pick up Tristana with it, please.
The one of the main things that always stuck in my mind about that season is Paul telling me, he's like, honestly, I thought Leona was a trash champion until I saw you play it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's my favorite compliment ever.
I remember when you guys brought me in and said, so what do you play again? And I was like, I'm a support main. And he was like, why are you here to play bot? And I was like, I met some guy named Red Leaf. And you guys were like, whatever. And in my like one trial game, whatever you called it, I played Jinx and I hard stopped and you went, you're good enough, you can play with us. And I was like, cool.
I mean, because our dilemma was that Dave couldn't play certain weeks, right?
Yeah, so at the time I was working in public audit and would travel, and there was not a guarantee that I'd be able to make it back some Saturdays during busy season to play.
Yeah.
So there had to be a backup just in case I wasn't there, or, you know, I even said to Kento from the beginning, I was like, look, if you have somebody consistent that is going to play the entire way through, that's fine. Play them. I will be backup. I will help in scrims. I'll do whatever I can to help the team win. I care more about our team winning as a collective unit than I do about me individually playing. The exception of that being in finals whenever that's a different point.
Yeah, my line of thinking was, and I know I just said it, but I thought our best chance of winning was with their roster.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I remember just saying, I'm here for the RP. Good luck, boys.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, yeah.
That.
Oh,
Yeah.
So I forgot to add that context. The great thing about the first year that we all played in it was that it was a Riot sanctioned event, and you got RP for finishing in top 3. Guys, I shit you not. We played really well all season. Like regular season,
I think we finished 11-5.
Yeah.
Tied for second place, but we lost the tiebreaker, so we got third.
I
think-
may have tried to play Malphite with Tristana,
maybe.
and it did not go well.
I remember I think I only ever lost one regular season game. I think that's all. The games that I played, it went extremely well. And like we would, even in scrims, we would take games off of some of the top teams on a consistent basis.
I mean, I went 5-1, filling in as the mid laner for the first 6 weeks because our other mid laner got banned. So that was
Honestly,
fun.
though, that might have been the best thing that happened to us, because that's what made our record go so high.
It's true.
We went 5-1 with me auto-filling mid. I just played Malzahar and Kassadin and rushed Deathcap every game.
And you almost got banned.
Yep.
I remember you were told to stop talking trash so that
didn't
I
even
would
talk
go in.
trash though.
No, but I would go in and talk trash because I would go in and talk trash because I thought it was stupid they wouldn't let you, and Kento told me I had to stop going in there because they were gonna ban me from the league.
Honestly, looking back on it, that whole thing was childish in every way.
It
shape,
was.
or form.
We
I
Remember when they
should
banned
have
you?
stopped talking. Like all I tried to do was defend my teammate who got banned unjustly, but I should have just let it be.
No,
It was
I will die on this stake. We did literally nothing wrong in that scenario. We were fine. We got labeled as a toxic team in
so
the
then
league.
any little minor joke we made got labeled as toxic instead of sarcasm or just joking around.
You pop an emote in game, it's toxic. You do anything, it's toxic. It's like, nah, at that point, you're egging me on. I want to fuck with you. Like, I want to intentionally do all this stuff. And here's the thing. I even worked with the general manager of the league, who I don't know if he's still affiliated with Golden Guardians. I pray to God not. But dear God, like, I tried coming in and helping because I do know a few things about like running running businesses, stuff like that. Like, know like the rules and regulations around it, like the things you need to put in place. But dear God, I spent 12 hours drafting an entire new rule set that covered everything, and it got thrown out the window. Had that been put in place, had management actually done what we said, that could have turned into a full-fledged thing. I'm telling you. Like, the recipe is there, and there's a reason why Immortals is doing this now and trying to basically have this event for fans. It is a great way for fans of an organization at a lower level to do something unique on behalf of them and feel like you're more than just a typical fan.
Yeah, like I said, incredible idea, amazing idea, as long as it's executed well. Like, I fully enjoyed all my times playing those games, scrimming, practicing, but the out-of-game politics, drama, bullshit, etc. It's like very unfun. And it
I
was
had an absolute blast when I flashed the TSM emote after we killed them one time, they threatened to ban me.
It was terribly handled on all parts, myself included. So I don't wish anyone, like, I don't have any ill feelings towards anyone at all that participate in that league, but
oh, I do a little bit.
Why?
Because it really annoys me when really good ideas get fucked up because of piss poor management, and I had as close to a possible say in it as I could, because then I feel partially responsible in a way for it falling apart. Like, regardless of whether I actually did something or not, I feel like I bear some sort of responsibility with it, and that bugs the shit out of me to this date. Like,
literally, gonna blame you for it.
I don't. It doesn't matter whether anybody else is gonna blame me for it. I'm gonna take responsibility on that for myself, because I literally lost sleep for countless nights just thinking about where this could possibly end up at.
I mean, I know it sounds funny, but like, again, it was such a good idea that if it was executed,
it was a very fun idea.
That's the thing. And like, here's the thing. I knew, like, where else since that point have you been able to feel like you got to represent TSM in any capacity like that? Have you had anything?
Talking about me?
Yeah, you. I know you play. I know you played for Optic, but what I'm saying is, do you feel like you've ever had a chance as a fan of TSM to get a similar experience like that?
No, I mean, I was just there for the RP, so I don't know. But
yeah, I mean, also it being Riot affiliated.
It being that, and the competitiveness was what was fun, I think.
There's not many leagues that you can play in at a gold level where it's actually competitive through and through.
I don't know how to do it anymore, though, because the last league we played in, or the last time we played in a league, I didn't really love it, because I felt like the amount of just general effort that some teams were putting in, and the amount that I actually wanted to put in myself was just not matching. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could not make that many scrims. I mean, to be frank, we went 5 games or 3 games, whatever it was, with a team that was like hard working every day to beat us.
Yeah.
Well, we were just showing up.
And this comes back to one of the earlier points I was talking about with Ellis and Renekton. I feel so bad that I picked you fiddlesticks, but like, you kept telling me you wanted it.
Yeah.
And Paul, you have this weird way where you talk, but you like kind of laugh. Yeah. And I don't know if it's a nervous laugh or like a serious laugh or like I don't know, but you're like, I want the fiddle. I want the fiddle diddle. And then you I don't know. And I couldn't tell if you were trolling or not. So I just said, fuck it, fiddlesticks.
I was like, I'll try it, and then I tried it, and we got railed.
But my idea was basically that I wanted you guys all to be on something comfortable, even if the comp was shit. And
we tried.
And
we should have played something better weak side.
Let me just say, we were... Hang on. Looking back on this now, this may have been one of like the dumbest statements I've ever made, okay? I constantly brag that we were a weak side bot lane. We were nowhere close to a weak side bot lane. We won every lane that we were in with some sort of variation of like a Varus brand comp. Like we were.
we were going even.
You were weak side Kingdom in the fact that I told Eddie to never gank for you.
Yes, but we
Like,
were
he would
still
still
like
walk
outright 2v2. We were still smashing to the point where he was walking bot because we had advantages that heavy.
For most games, yeah.
Sometimes. I mean, to be fair, we were really just hoping that Sung would do something.
I mean, yeah. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
all
But I
right.
did
Yeah.
learn in that best of. I think the thing that got me the most in that best of 5 was when I was talking about the game at one point and trying to figure out how to think about the rest of the match, and I was conversing, and Eddie and Sung told me, "I just want to fight." And that's when it really dawned on me what Zebra had been telling me all year, that we need somebody to shot call. And I was like, they're not going to listen to me regardless of what happens here.
Nope.
I was like, they're about to go in. And they went in and
They
fought
went
and
in.
both died. And I was like, I don't know if we can do this, boys. I was like, I just don't know. This is meant to be.
Yeah,
And
I
I
mean,
sat there.
I felt like
Because I was like, I'm not good enough to carry this game. And I can't tell people what to do. It's just not how I play.
I was double lift telling Bjergsen like, hey, it's season 6. We need a shot caller. It has to be one of us. When I was
Yeah.
talking to you and Jaybird, it was like one of you has to like step up, be the emotional leader, the in-game leader, the actual leader, say shit, constantly talk, because I can't be it.
And I'm not smart enough to, so
I said stuff. It just wasn't going to get heard regardless.
I remember I tried like one game. I was like, you know what? This game, I'm gonna try calling out and being a little bit more shot caller-ish. First time it happens, it's like a decision between like going to Drake and going to Barrett, and I immediately picked the wrong thing, and everybody disagrees. And it's like, yeah, okay, nope, that makes sense. I'm absolutely dumb.
That's Silver David.
I am so dumb.
The best one was when one of them, he tried to call something to me, and he was like, oh man, I didn't mean to press that. And I went, well, why'd you press it? He's like, well, I'm trying to shot call at the same time. And I was like, just do one, Dave. I was like, pick one. And I was like, just play the game.
To be fair, we won 2 games that season
did.
purely off of me recognizing when nobody else did, and the fucking games. Like literally go down mid, end the game. Like even if it was close on timers, go end it.
We really did.
Those are the Silver Dave extremes, right? It's like,
It is.
either potatoes as hard as possible or he clutches as hard as possible.
Literally either like won us the game or just said something and everybody went, what are you talking about? We'd be like, what? I still remember the game. I instantly go in on Leona, like level 2, and Dave doesn't press E, and I'm sitting there like, what's he doing?
Yeah,
And he just doesn't press anything, and I'm dying to them. I'm like getting absolutely
Oh,
murdered.
I think I know what you're
And I
talking
go,
about.
Dave, what happened? And he goes, I forgot to take E. And I was like, okay.
I started
And I-
QW on Trist for some random reason.
The one thing, yeah, I don't know why. I don't know how you were so bad at Trist after all those games where I just ingrained into you. Like,
I've gotten, to be fair, I've gotten better. My Tristana has like a 60% win rate in solo queue, and I can consistently play it at a decently high level.
And I
Part
still to this day ask you if you have E, don't I?
part
Yes.
of me thinks that you had a mental block because I tried to drill it into you so hard to play Trist that like you just have a mental
PTSD.
block.
Yeah. No, I definitely think it was. And I said that from the beginning. It's like, this has nothing to do with my ability to actually play her. Because my win rate, even back then, was upwards of like 60%. I could never get comfortable on her. I never felt like I was doing the right things in the right moment, and just constantly was criticizing myself to the point where I couldn't do it. And I just stopped playing her for an extended period of time.
It happens. Sometimes you just get a mental block. Like I don't like playing enchanters. For whatever reason, I can't make enchanters work. So that's why I play like Leona, Alistar, Nautilus.
And
And I don't think I'm bad on enchanters. I just lose every game I play an enchanter. So maybe I am bad, but
For people's context, Zebra's Leona is so good
It is.
that he got me to play Leona, and they were banning my Leona.
Yes.
His saints, his disciples even get it banned.
Yes. Zebra is
Now, to be
legitimately...
fair, my fiddle
Well,
would have won.
not
My
anymore,
fiddle
but-
would have been good if we weren't getting Giga Ganked that game. It wasn't fair, We got ganked 24/7 that game. We were getting ganked everywhere on that
Yeah.
game. We were getting ganked by all 4 of them or 5 of them.
You know,
That's why the fiddle's so good. Because you see, I brought it out and they went, "Oh dear God."
yeah.
See, Paul, when I first met you, you told me you were like a any brand bard player,
He was.
I was.
And still is.
but nowadays it seems like you play brand still, but now you play like tank engage supports like I used to.
Yeah, I just switched to tank supports and like Kane. If I ever get autofilled to jungle, I go blue Kane and I don't pay attention to anything in the game. My brain shuts down.
True.
And I have reverted to the simpleton mind frame of the
You and Mike Young.
the
Very much.
three hit passive of Vayne just carrying games. If Tristana is too complicated for my mind and I can int too badly with a jump, what's the easiest way to do it? Strip out all abilities to the point where you have one little dive, you have a condemn to push somebody away if they come close or push them into a wall, and then just sit there and auto attack. It doesn't get any simpler than that.
I feel like if you're in a team fight and you have Peel, like obviously you can just like free hit, but Vayne is pretty complex. I'd say Vayne is way more complex than Trims.
I know she is, but it doesn't feel that way for me, and I don't know why.
True.
Like to me, like even though Tristana by all means is an easier champion to pilot, so long as you're not reckless with your W, which I 100% am. I don't know. Vayne just feels easier. Sit back, know where the threats are that can attack you, and just make sure you're in range to auto attack and start proccing, and that's it.
It's how it is, sadly.
I mean, we've gone over this many times before, but like Silver Dave often, specifically when it comes to League of Legends, has like ideas that are very counterintuitive, counterproductive, or go against the grain. He would tell me so many times, he would say one thing, and I'm like, I didn't even know that was an option. Like, I thought it was so obvious it's the other way. I didn't know that was the option.
I remember we were playing a ranked flex, and Dave was the only one who dragged us all into the ranked flex because he wanted to climb. And it was when Zoe was initially released, or like a few weeks later, and he walks into the Zoe.
Yeah, I know where it's going.
And I say, "Why'd you walk into the Zoe?" And he goes, "I just thought it was a portal." I was like, "What are you talking about?" I was like,
Yeah, the Zoe bubble dropped on the ground and he walked over it and died.
we all went, "Why'd you walk there?" And he was like, "It's not just a portal or something. Like, what is this?" And he even goes, "What's going on?" He's like screaming like the game screwed him over. And I was like, "Dave," I was like, "You just walked into her CC."
To be fair, if Zoe had just released, it's more understandable.
I feel like it was a while after because
No, it was only a few
Knew
weeks.
it really
It was
hard.
it was only a few weeks, and it was only the second time I'd ever seen her played in game. So
Okay.
I'd seen those bubbles on the ground, but I'd never been close enough to the point where I could walk into them.
Okay, then that's fine. I'm sure everyone in Cole knew, but you.
I think there was a time where we were playing against the Hecarim and like I was walking back from base and Dave got assassinated in the river like he always does by Hecarim. I'm like, did Hecarim ult? He's like, yeah, he did. So then I go to where Dragon Pit and Hecarim ults me and I'm like, what? Did you just say ult to Dave? And he's like, I thought his charge where he jumps is his ult. I don't know, dude. It was weird.
His E, he called his E.
Yeah, he thought his E was
Yep.
ult or something. I don't know, dude. It was weird.
And that's why I started the League 101 series on TikTok to teach myself the abilities of all the other champions. That way that could never happen again.
That stuff was the best.
It was. So, unfortunately, Emily is back. I need to help unpack a few things around here, so I'm going to have to wrap this up. Any closing thoughts, any remarks from everybody here before we end it?
No.
I mean, Monkohome as always. It was fun. I'd like to do it again sometime. And yeah.
Let's go. Thank you for coming.
We definitely will have you back on Zebra. Conversation always flows well whenever you're here. But we all of us have 4 years of chemistry at this point, so it's like, no shit.
Sure.
3.5.
Gotta slide it
We
in.
take those.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to slide it in.
Thank you everybody for tuning in. Catch us on the next episode Monday at 10 p.m. where we will have Jordan Sherman, the CEO of Immortals, on. Paul, do you want to do your thing?
Yeah, love you, Speaker. Thank you, Speaker. We'll come on the show one day.
God bless Closer for being the better jungler, and see you all on the next episode.
One's an MVP.
Shut up. Adios.